The trek takes about a week and a half, and the reason why it takes so long is to allow your body to acclimatise. It's really important because you can get really ill from altitude sickness if you don't allow your body to acclimatise. It can affect you in many ways, nausea, obviously severe headaches, affects your decision making, but eventually your body will shut down. Your organs will die. You can die of altitude sickness. I've been running for probably about 11, 12 years, and I started running because I just got too old and too weak to carry on playing team sports, and just really fell in love with running, both longer distance and also I love off-road running. I love running in the bush. My first marathon was here in New Zealand, the Rotorua Marathon. I've done the Auckland Marathon a few times, but then I've also been over to China and done the Great Wall Marathon in China. I did the New York Marathon last year in November, and earlier this year I went and did the Tenzing Hillary Everest Marathon. And having been over to Nepal a couple of years ago to do a little bit of trekking in the Himalayas, I was really keen to go back and actually do a trek to Everest Base Camp. And that appealed to me because it enabled me to go and do the climb up to base camp, which I was really keen to do, and run a marathon as well at the same time. So it was a bit way out and extreme, but really excited me. Everest Base Camp is at about 5,300 meters, and the oxygen level is probably about 50% of what you would normally get at sea level. So it's important that your body acclimatizes for that. So there were a couple of people who suffered from altitude sickness, and one lady was taken down. Others recovered in time. The more challenging thing for us was actually chest infections. And so everybody on the group got some form of chest infection and cough. I was great for the first 7 of the 10 days, and then got really sick in the last three or 4 days. So I really suffered those last few days of the trek up and battled. My chest got very tight because of the infection, and a combination of that and the high altitude and lack of oxygen. I really struggled, and for at least a couple of those nights I just couldn't sleep at all because I just couldn't breathe. They'd already helicoptered a number of people out, and so their decision was that, or their suggestion to me was that I should be helicoptered out, which was going to happen the next morning, which was the day of the race. On the morning of the event, I was out of my tent at about 5 in the morning, just as the light was starting to come up, and got into my gear that I was going to wear to helicopter down, and packed up my pack. And I stepped out the tent and looked around and just thought, I have to give this a go. I can't come all the way up here and not try it. I knew I'd be really disappointed. So I climbed back into my tent, got into my running gear, packed up the rest of my stuff, and went down to the breakfast tent and just told the doctors and the rest of the team that I was going to give it a go. It's about 20 minutes walk to get to the start of the race from where we were camping, and I was walking across thinking, this is dumb, I shouldn't be doing this is dumb. The first 2 or 3 kilometers of the race is very tricky and technical because it's on the ice and the glacier and the rocks, and so there's no path. There were a couple of contestants that got badly injured. Somebody broke their leg within the first 2 kilometers from running too fast on the rocks. So it was a matter of just concentrating really hard to make sure that we got through that area. And as I got onto one of the steepest climbs on that event, I would take 2 or 3 paces and then just literally collapse onto my sticks, gasping for breath. And that's when I thought, I'm not going to make this. I'm not going to be able to get to the end. I just won't get up this. It's about a kilometer climb, and I just would not be able to get up to the end of that. A couple of the doctors who accompanied the international travellers on the trek up were actually in one of those little huts having dinner. And so the guide went in and got them out, and they dragged me into the hut and basically, first of all, tried to rehydrate me. They were going to put a drip into my arm, but couldn't get anything into the veins, so I just had to drink lots of water. And I actually, they forced me to rest for a few hours and free my chest up, but they managed to do that, and so I was able to start again and continue up the hill. Yeah, I think it was special for me finishing because I felt that that I had seen something through and not given in to challenges that had been put in the way. I really believe that the Lord's given us the amazing ability to achieve things way beyond what we believe is possible. And it would have been really easy for me to pull out and felt justified that I had pulled out. But just persisting and seeing it through to the end, knowing that while it was tough at the time, it was something I set my mind to and managed to achieve. You can draw your strength both from yourself as a person and your ability to do things, but also draw your strength from God and from the Lord and the fact that He promises to give us the strength we need to cope with the circumstances that we face in life.